Sure.
So I just want to follow up on something that you said yesterday about not needing a traditional point guard, and then you gave context in terms of the players learning every position. How do you feel like your skill set can be maximized in a system like that?
Well, I think,
Kind of ran it last week too.
yeah, I think it's just understanding the game has evolved so much, and it's not as, like our posts especially have guard-like skills. Like with Stewie, with JJ, they both shoot really well. They can handle the ball. We can stretch them, and guards can go inside. And I think kind of being untraditional in that sense of finding different ways to attack mismatches and giving teams a different kind of look offensively is something that we're going to continue to do, especially with just the versatility that we have on the offensive end. I mean, Satu coming in at 6'4", who can guard and post up, who has guard-like skills and can also post up. Like, there's just so much variation that we can have offensively, and I think that's the nice part about the team that we have. It's not just like one-dimensional. I think there's so many, skills that we all have, and we're all going to understand how to use each other offensively. And I think for me, it's understanding. Obviously, I'm a great passer. I can initiate offense. I can get off ball and use the gravity to be able to create for my teammates. I can shoot the ball as well. So I think it's just understanding how we can all play off one another to create the best advantage for our offense.
Last year at training camp, there was a lot of talk about like implementing the 5-out offense and stuff like that. And I know that it's only day 2 and there's a lot of work that still needs to be done. But kind of what do you think some of the principles or how you guys are going to play offensively speaking? Like what are some traits that you guys are incorporating?
Yeah, I mean, we're playing really fast. There's obviously a lot of space, and that's something that we're able to create just with penetrating, driving, and finding, the open man. So it's been fun. It's been different offense that we're kind of putting in and learning on the fly as new people are coming into camp, and we're learning different positions. Guards are setting screens and, just a little bit more untraditional, and it's something that we've kind of implemented in the first day of camp and have just continued to get better as camp's gone on. But I'd say the pace and space that we've been able to play with in these first 3 days is just like the whole floor has just opened up for everybody.
Sabrina, how would you describe the type of teacher that Chris is?
Well, I'd say he's a great teacher because he really understands what he's, what he's trying to teach, but he's able to really articulate it well enough for everybody to understand. So, he's in film, he's really painting the picture of what we want to see, and there's not really any gray area. It's very like black and white. Like you understand where you have to be on the offensive side of the ball at all times, and you know where your teammate's supposed to be, you know where the posts are supposed to be, even if it's not your position. And he's able to really like paint that picture very clear for us to just understand like this is what you need to be doing offensively, and this is where you need to be. And there's not really this like second guessing of like I could do this, but I also could do that. And I think that part of his knowledge of the game has really just helped everyone understand exactly what their role is and how they could be useful in this offense and defense. Same on the defensive end as well.
So is it going to be like more scripted, do you think, than last, or is it still going to be like read react, or?
It's nothing like last year.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's going to be completely different. But I'd say like the sense of we're all going to be playing to our strengths is always going to be the same. Like he came in understanding like what everyone does really well and how he can incorporate it. But I'd say like the spacing that we're playing with is going to be kind of different than what we've seen. And I think that's going to be really exciting for all of us because we all play really well in space when there's not 2 people guarding me, 2 people guarding Stewie, 2 people guarding, JJ. I think when you're able to play somebody one-on-one, the floor just opens up, the rim opens up, like everything's a lot easier. So it's going to be exciting, and I think we're excited to just kind of get out there and start playing, see how it feels.
Last season, sorry.
Oh, you got
2 more, go ahead.
Two more. Thanks, Sab.
You first now.
Okay, hey Sab. The last couple of off seasons, you've been really intentional about working on improving parts of your game, and we've seen increases in rim pressure, the mid-range. What was your goal this off season? What did you work on specifically?
I worked on a lot. I'd say I probably had my best off season yet in terms of just really fine-tuning what I wanted to continue to get better at. Obviously, like being able to shoot even better, than I have been. Continuing to find ways to attack, in the paint, finishing in the paint. Got a lot stronger. Able to implement cardio starting in like November. So I've been, training kind of a lot different and being able to also shoot through a lot of fatigue. That's something that I was able to implement in the off season with kind of tweaking a lot of my training. It's, everyone can shoot well in the first 5 to 10 minutes of the game, but can you do it in, the fourth quarter when you're in every single action and moving? And, this offense, there's a lot more movement than we've ever had. And so I kind of knowing that early on in the off season, I was able to implement a lot of what we're doing now into my off season training.
Yeah, last season there was a point to physicality, and some people, I guess, said that the Liberty lacked the physicality. So with this new offensive structure, how do you build that toughness up? Is it something that the coaches kind of like preaching to you guys, a philosophy, or is it something that the roster kind of brings out?
Are you talking about on defense or offense?
A little bit of both.
I mean, I think the clarity is going to really help that. I think sometimes maybe you lack physicality when you're a little uncertain of what you should be doing. And I'd say we've really simplified a lot, and I think have kind of just made it really plain and simple on what we're trying to do on both sides of the ball. And I think that allows you to be more physical. I think when you're overthinking, you're a little bit passive. And I think thinking back to last season, I think everyone wanted to be physical, and we have a really physical team. Like, we're long, we're athletic. I think everyone was overthinking a little bit, and that kind of led to a little bit of second guessing, not sure if you should go or not, at least defensively. And I'd say this year, the clarity has really helped us understanding like what we want to do on the defensive end, how we can use our length to our advantage. We're really long, like we can get into passing lanes, make teams really uncomfortable with how we can dictate where we want players to go. And so I've been able to see that in the first few days of training camp, and I think it's just going to continue to get better, especially since we don't have two of our best defenders here, which is in Leo and Stewie.
Thanks, Seb. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
So we spoke, I think it was in February. It feels like it was 6 months ago, just based on how much has happened at Unrivaled in Philly.
Oh, yeah.
We talked about the middle class and sort of how important it was for the middle class to, get their due in the new CBA. Now that we're through it, we're here, how do you think that turned out for the middle class?
Well, I think we've done an amazing job compared to especially the 2020 CBA agreement, where I don't think that was a focus. And I think just having, especially within the leadership group of the Players Association, how they all spoke on every single player in the sense of, the superstars, the rookies, the middle class players like you just spoke on. So it meant that everyone was accounted for. So I think it's just been unreal how things have changed. You saw in free agency, things happen fast. And so, yeah, there's just definitely been adjustments made that have been for the better.
Kathy said at the draft, at her availability on draft night, that she was kind of surprised that players were so adamant about keeping team housing. I guess, what was your stance on team housing?
I mean, I think that's important because it's not like, if you look at the NBA and the salaries that they're on, yeah, you can afford that. And then it's not so black and white, because what happens if you get traded within season? And then what if you're a foreigner coming across as well? And it's a lot harder, especially if you don't have, especially my passport, it's pretty hard to get a rental, So I think if you think bigger than just the Americans, it's not as black and white of a topic. And I'm really glad that that's something that we're sort of weaning into rather than just doing a hard stop on it right now. I think it's in the next 3 years when the housing will become a thing, but that's also because it's growing financially, the league too. So I'm in the stance of I'm glad that there's housing. I think there needs to be that, especially with a city like New York. I'm sure we all agree with that.
Maybe welcome back
Thank you.
to New York. Can you just talk about how you see yourself maximizing your skill set with this group?
I just think we heard what Sab was saying. It's a family offense. I think that's a really fun style of playing, because it means everyone's moving, the ball's moving, and you're part of it. I think everyone thrives in a situation like that and makes it way less stagnant. I'm someone that likes to move off the ball and cut, and this offense really serves to that. I'm also, I would say, a selfless player. So there's moments where, hey, it's not about me, and you need someone like that on the court too. You got to get the ball to the right person at the right time, and sometimes it's going to be me, sometimes it's going to be someone else. Look at the roster. So yeah, I really see myself fitting in well offensively, but defensively in particular, you can tell that we're already developing that trust defensively, and that's pretty cool after 3 days.
Great to see you.
Yeah, good to see you.
You talked about how fast everything was after the CBA was
Yeah.
signed. What was your free agent journey like, and can you take us through just kind of getting back to New York?
Yeah, I mean, this was a different free agency for me than the one that I had 2 years ago. It was one where I only wanted to come to New York. That was a big thing for me, especially with where I'm at in my career. I wanted to go back to a place that means something to me. I want to be in a winning culture. I also really loved my chat with the coach, and I felt like, hey, this really resonates with me. His approach is different, and that's why I like it. You can tell he's very clear on what he wants, but the way it's said, it's just different than what I've experienced before. I really like it because he's making sure that he's speaking to everyone and you feel that you're seen. So yeah, my free agency was very different. I was very clear. I had a narrow sort of, hey, this is what I want. If I don't get it, I don't get it. But it's so wonderful when things fall in place.
And you were through some tough years for this franchise, and
Yeah.
what were the last 3 years or so like, seeing it from afar, and now coming back to seeing now Barclays being sold out every night?
Yeah, I mean, even just being the opposition coming in, you realise it's actually quite daunting to play here when you're not the home team. So I'm really happy to now be back on this side of things, but it's an organisation that I'm sort of proud to have been a part of, because I've seen it where it's gone from Madison Square Garden to being out in Westchester, with the theatre stage on the court, great food up there. But then also to come back here, and in the years that this has even grown to, you can just see that there's a real investment from Josiah and Clara, and I just think that it's setting a benchmark, I think, for a lot of other clubs. Yeah.
Zach, welcome back.
Thank you.
Just staying on topic, did anything surprise you about how the organization or culture has evolved since you were last here?
I wouldn't say like surprises, because you look at the people there, all the players in particular I can speak on, you've got that winning mentality, you've got that team first mentality, and you feel that as you come in here. Also the energy is really positive, and that's actually bigger than you would even think, because you want to come to work and you want to feel upbeat. You want to come to work ready to compete, work hard, but also feel like you've achieved something in the day and you've enjoyed it. So yeah, that's one thing that I've really noticed, and I hope it stays like this as well, and I'm sure it will, because even from what the coach has said, he's mentioned that even if you've lost 2 games in a row, we want to come in like we've just won, and that's actually really, really important.
You mentioned being a player who likes to cut. What about the offensive principles that are being installed is conducive to your skill set?
Spacing. That's probably the biggest one. The spacing is so good that it allows the cut. And also when everyone knows what the next move is going to be, regardless of which way the ball goes, there's a system in place. So when everyone's on a string, it makes the offense really, really easy in a sense, because you're all connected. It's not that, what's happening now? And then that indecision creates a stagnancy, I guess, on the court. So with that movement, that spacing, I think that really helps not just my game, but everyone's.
Your interview with Tony and Beza on the...
I mean, you were on it too. Not mine, but you've done one with it. They're nice people. I meant it in a good way. I feel like you just got offended. Good. Sorry.
I'll finish.
Okay, yeah.
It went viral.
I know.
First part of that is, how did you feel about that going viral?
Well, first part is that was the smallest part of the interview,
No, it was a great
because we were
interview.
talking about the CBA and all
Yeah.
that. It was actually quite positive,
It was a great conversation.
And I was probably being that little bit candid, but I also, I thought it was a bit funny too.
It
There
was.
a little bit of humour in it, but at the same time, I think what I said was truthful. But yeah, I didn't expect it to go a little bit viral.
And you seem to foreshadow a lot of what ended up happening.
Yeah.
Was that your intent?
No, well, that was that was well before. Not at all, but I'm not calculated like that. I was in an interview with a very new podcast. I didn't think it was going to be seen, if I'm completely honest with you. But it was, yeah, it was. But hey, again, like I said, things really do work out in that sense. But I mean, I didn't only just speak well of New York. I spoke well of Phoenix. I spoke well of Fenner. That was an unbelievable experience too. So this was just one of the teams that I listed, and it worked out, Yeah.
To go back to your conversations with Chris, how much of those, before you signed here, how much of those were about, more tactical basketball philosophies, and how much of those were, he talks a lot about the energy, the feeling that he wants in the room every day. I guess, how did he balance those in your conversation?
It was an interesting balance. It was a funny question, because obviously we spoke basketball at the start, and then it went off onto, restaurant recommendations, good cafes, Patty Mill's bar that he's got here, old mates. So I enjoyed the balance, because you've got that human side, and that's something I think I'm really leaning towards at this stage, especially being a bit older in the league. So it was cool hearing how he wanted to see the game and the flow, and how he saw me fitting into that. You always want to hear that. You always want to know that you're part of a system that the coach is wanting, because you fit it naturally. So that was something I really liked, but I did like the human side even more. Yeah.
Beck, you're known as a shooter, but what does it mean to you to be top 10 in New York Liberty history in blocks and have that defensive imprint?
Oh.
And where do you kind of see yourself fitting defensively with this identity in this?
Well, I
league?
didn't know that, so I appreciate it. I just see myself, especially now in this part of my career, defense comes first. There's a lot of good shooters within this team, but defense that's an identity. I think that's hard work. That's putting your team first. But what's sort of cool about me is I've got a lot of length, and I really utilize that, so I don't have to be as close to my defender, and it can still make them, hesitate on that shot. So yeah, defense is something I definitely take pride in, and I had to, especially in my earlier years, because Bill was not going to play me until I got a little bit better in that area. So I had to make that a focus.
A few more?
I'm curious about, I guess, the type of teacher Chris is, especially with him being brand new to this league and sort of growing his institutional knowledge, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think the word that comes to mind straight away is that he's very clear. He's clear in what he wants, and I think that clarity just helps with everyone knowing, hey, where am I meant to be? What's my position? How does the ball move? All those sort of things. He's very clear in what he wants, both offensively and defensively. He even made the analogy today in film of, okay, when you look at film and you see something defensively, you can easily say, hey, I was meant to be here in this position, and you just know. He wants the same on offense. And I think that's a really cool way of looking at it. It means that everyone knows where you're meant to be when the ball moves to the right, when it goes to the baseline, whatever it may be. And I forgot the second part of your question.
He's new to the league, so he doesn't know all of the personnel throughout the league. So I guess just how are you sort of seeing sort of a growth in WNBA institutional knowledge?
Yeah, I mean, I can't answer that fully because I'm sure he's been watching the league. I'm sure he's been doing so much scouting and film and all that sort of stuff too. But I think it's also cool to see a coach come from another, you can say it about a European coach, like who they have in Connecticut. He brings a different skill set as well. Chris has come from Golden State. He's brought what he's learned from that. And I think when you're building rather than just from focusing on things that have been here, I think that's how you grow as well. So I see that as being a huge positive. Yeah.
Thanks, Beck.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Agency.
Yeah, so my off season, it was fun. I took a little time off. I was back in California a lot. And then right before I went to Athletes Unlimited, I came back to train with the coaching staff. They had just got here too. So it was great to start to learn the concepts and things like that. And then I played in Athletes Unlimited and then went back to Cali for a little bit. And then just throughout free agency, I mean, there's a lot of new faces and new staff, and I think what helped me a lot was when I came back during the off season and I started to learn the concepts and just all the movement on offense and even the defensive principles. So I got a little head start to kind of know what's going to happen in training camp. So it was nice to do that.
Sabrina has just said that the offense this year is, quote, nothing like it was last year.
Yeah, I would agree.
You would agree with that assessment? And I guess, without giving too much away, what are the biggest differences?
I would just say a lot of ball movement and player movement, which I feel like is nice, and it helps keep the floor balanced offensively to make things easier for everyone, I would say.
And did it seem like, even before the roster was totally finalized, that Chris and the staff had a really clear idea of how you guys want to play?
I would say yes. So like I said, when I came back before AU, those concepts were definitely there. And it's just really simple, honestly. It's simple basketball, but playing off each other. And I feel like when you have high level and high IQ players, that's really what you should do anyway.
Hey, Beck.
Beck, can
Yeah.
go on.
Beck, welcome back. I'm
Thank you.
happy to see you back. Just wanted to know what it's been like for you having, a healthy off season versus last season where you were coming back in a rehabbing state. What's been different for you this off season?
I mean, I would feel I would just say even last season I was healthy. It's just I had to wait a little longer because I didn't go play overseas, so I didn't play in games. But I mean, getting to play in Athletes Unlimited was really cool, and getting to know the other players and playing with a lot of freedom and things like that, and just really getting out and play, which I hadn't done in a long time, for a consecutive amount of time, the whole month I played. So that was cool. So I feel I got my footwork back and things like that. So It was cool, and even taking the time being at home and like getting to visit my family and like just do regular stuff without always having to think like I gotta make sure like I'm like ramping up and things like that. So it was fun.
Beck,
Yeah.
can you take us through the types of teachers that this new coaching staff is? Like, how does
Types of
Chris
teacher?
teach? How does Chris teach?
Okay.
How does Addison? Try to
Yeah.
introduce us to people here. We're new. We're all
Okay,
new to
I mean,
them.
yeah, I feel like it's new for us too.
Yes.
But everyone has their own personality. I feel like Will's like very energetic, like lots of energy. He's fun. And then I feel like Chris, I would say he's a chill dude, but he means business, and yeah, so I like that. Addie, she's like the she's the shooter of the team. We have to do a free throw drill at the end, and then sometimes we like have a coach sub in for us if we miss. So we always count on her to like today she made the free throw for us, which is nice. But she's pretty cool too. But I would just say that we're still getting to know them as well. But we can kind of like start to fill out their personalities. I think they also start like learning us too, because it's also different like on the court. I feel like it takes time, but so far everyone's good vibes and it's been fun in training camp.
The Liberty's bench was top 3 in the league last year, and obviously there were
I don't know
some.
that.
How you do? Obviously, there are some like big losses with KB and Izzy,
Yeah.
but also has been fortified with Han coming and Raquel and you and other Beck. I guess how do you feel like you guys can continue to like build that momentum and make sure that you guys stay top of the league in that area?
I mean, we talked about like one thing we talked about early on is like being a star in our role. So I just feel like that's one thing like not only the starters we're focused on, but us as like coming off the bench are focused on as well. And I think if we do that, then like we don't have to pay attention to who's first, who's second, who's third. We'll be at the first, like the top automatically. And I also think the way that like our training camp has been going and things like that, I don't know if anybody's working as hard as us. So I would just say that's something that will come, and I feel like it's not something that we're like focused on. It'll just come.
And then Kathy said that she was kind of surprised that players wanted team housing, like how important that issue was for them.
Yeah.
I guess where did you stand on that stance, and how do you feel that team housing will be provided for the next few years?
Yeah, I mean, I think what came out of the CBA was great, and I was definitely one of the players who would have liked team housing. I think there are little things that maybe the average person doesn't think about, where like you have to get furniture. There's just so many little things, and when we're playing basketball, that's just extra stuff we would have to focus on. So I think it's awesome that we do get housing these next few years, and then it's more of like a transition. So the results of how it came out in the CBA was great, and I'm happy that we did get housing.
How is it with 2 players named Beck on the team? Is that
We haven't figured it out.
figured it out yet?
I know, even today in practice, like, coach was like, Beck, and then we would both look. But we kind of figured out, like, whoever he makes eye contact with is, like, who he's talking to. But we're going to have to figure it out. Like, we haven't figured it out yet. So, we're good.
I guess just overall, what would you say are your goals for this season?
I would just say, every time I step on the court, be the best that I can be for the team. And I always, like, when I come off the bench or whatever my role is, I don't know what my role is going to be, but just assess what the team needs and try to plug in there. I feel like I can do a lot of different things, so I just try to see, like, what the team needs. And I think just by being my best self, I can help the team win.
Finish Miles?
Hey, Beck, one more. You talked about your AU experience, and that is so kind of free-flowing, and you've got the redraft and everything like that.
Yeah.
How would you say that helped your game in terms of offensively? Because defensively, you guys are all over the place, but
Yeah.
offensively, it's very solo-minded, right?
Yeah, so one thing that also helped me was I got to be a captain a lot of the week. So I think it helped me, like, learn how to, like, piece together players and, like, and just, like, learn, like, what works together well. And even, like, since I was a captain, I got to, like, play with players who, like, complemented our game. So I feel like if anything, it helped my IQ grow. I was almost like coaching and playing at the same time, so that was kind of hard. But it gave me a new perspective of the game, and I feel like that's even like helping me here now that I'm back in camp, because it's like slowed the game down for me a little bit.
Is coaching in your future now after that?
I don't know. You never know. I feel like I'm just focused on playing right now, but I feel like, the sky's the limit. We'll see. Coaching, GM, you never know.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Congrats on your-
Learned from him over the years being on that staff.
Yeah, Steve's incredible. I was raised in the right culture because of what he's done and the organization in Golden State, from top to bottom, and those players. And yeah, I spent over a decade with them, and that's family to me. And it was tough watching them lose the other night, and I'm sure that's a decision. He's going to sit with his family and talk to the front office, ownership, the players, and all that, and come to himself. But yeah, that's all I know.
We see you and the whole staff running sprints with the players at the end of practice. In terms of just building a culture, how important is it for you for you to see each other in the trenches like that?
Yeah, we're in this together. It's a long season, and there's so many games, and we're on the road, and people are sacrificing, and they miss their families. There's stuff going on in their lives, and like it's really just us in the gym. And so I want it to be together, and yeah, we'll have different games throughout the year. We'll have different things in terms of conditioning that we'll do together. So that's all that was.
Chris, how would you describe your teaching style and how you sort of like to teach people best?
I'm hands-on. Like I grew up in player development. That's sort of where I started, and every organization is different, every staff's different. That's how I came up outside the video room. In those early days, you're rebounding a lot, you're passing, you're part of development, and that was player development, director of player development, and so on. So I always just like getting involved. So I used to be able to jump in drills more, not as much these days, but my whole staff is pretty hands-on. They like to jump into things, and I just think it's important for connecting and sometimes to feel it ourselves. We're sitting here coaching and telling players what to do, and if we don't feel it, maybe we don't know exactly what they're thinking. So I think all that's important. So yeah, I'll just say hands-on.
Sabrina and Rebekah described your new system as simple and very clear in terms of how you teach them, I guess. She also mentioned that with this new offense, that players will be able to learn every position and sort of maximize the talents, I guess, from your point of view. With so much talent and versatility on the team,
Yeah.
how do you plan to?
I mean, yeah, a confused player can't play fast, and so we're trying to make it simple so that we understand what we're trying to get to. Right now, there is this wave of playing faster, and I think we're relying more on execution. That's how we want to play. We want to make sure we execute, get a good shot. But it is a build, right? Like you can't just throw in 7 sets right away and then defensively, all these different looks defensively. So it's just a slow build right now. So we're trying to get a few things down, get really good at it, and then we'll move on. So
In those film sessions that they mentioned, what did you see that was like lacking last season, I guess?
I don't know what film sessions they mentioned.
Oh,
So
they said you guys were watching film, I guess.
yeah, I don't know what one specifically, but yeah, we're just trying to do our best to explain what we see and where we're trying to get to, and so we'll have a different theme every day to do that. So depending on, we've had defense, offense, we had some stuff on transition defense today, and just so we're all on the same page. And again, new staff, new team, we want to make sure we have our terminology down.
Last season, the Liberty had the second lowest offensive rebounding rate, and that was a big drop off from previous years. I'm curious if that's something you've noticed watching the team last year, what you might attribute that to, and how much, if at all, you've talked about kind of crashing principles so far.
There's some opportunities there for sure. There's always any coaching staff, or when you come in and take over a team, you're going to look at what you can do better and the consequences of maybe crashing more versus not. And I think everyone's going through that same thing. Obviously, we have some size. Obviously, we'd like to get on the glass a little bit more, but we want to do so without sacrificing our defensive integrity.
Chris, when you were hired, it was stressed for how well you are. That's not English. It was stressed how good you are at holding players accountable. So I'm just curious what your process is when it comes to establishing trust so that you can then translate that into accountability.
Yeah, we're just, accountability is such a big buzzword, and I know that's what everybody's talking about in every sport, and we're just going to tell the truth. I think that's the biggest thing. I think the players want honesty. They want to know where they stand, and they want a clear picture of what it is that they have to do to get on the floor, and that's all we're trying to do.
In terms of defensive physicality, it's something that many said the team lacked last year. Going into this year with your philosophy on the defense, and I know you talked about offense, is it something that you're teaching, or is it something that's just built with?
Yeah, I think anyone building anything is going to be like physicality first. You're into the ball. We want to be physical. We want the other team to feel us. And if anybody's like, I brought this up, rugby, American football, you want to win the line of scrimmage. So yeah, there is a physicality component to this. But I also think that like there's other ways to disrupt. It isn't just like me being super physical and pushing you all over the place. It's like, are we on the same page? Is communication right? Are we helping each other behind the play? All those things to me play into physicality because it allows me to be more aggressive knowing I have my teammates behind me on the ball.
Hey, CD, how you doing?
Yeah, you?
Just want to know, I'm good. What kind of identity do you want to have with this team under you that's kind of different from last year?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know exactly what the identity was last year. I do think like that's something we'll talk about a lot. Like we talk about our values a lot. We talk about our culture, like what we want to see every day. And I think it kind of works into our identity. I have an idea of where I want to get to, but again, identity is what the other team feels, and identity is what you guys see and what fans see. And so sometimes it's like, yeah, we have our goals toward that, but we got to make sure that's what everyone sees as well, and that's what everyone feels when we're playing.
We just talked to both the Becks, and obviously the reserves are just as important as starters to a certain degree, and they have to come in and bring that energy and stuff. I guess, what have been your early impressions on them, and how do you think their skill sets fit into like the movement, the pace, the
Both
space,
Becks?
like everything? Yeah.
Yeah, Beck Gardner's been phenomenal. She really knows how to play the game, and obviously, like at AU, you could see that. She's a really good player. She makes her teammates better. She defends. She picks up full court. Been really impressed with her. But again, like just from watching in the past her game and seeing her early on, when I first got in the building, she was one of the first people here. So you can feel it. You can see it. She's a really good player. And then other Beck, we're working toward her being able to be on the floor again. So that'll I'll have to get back to you on that one. But yeah. Love both Becks. As far as like the locker room goes, they're incredible. Great personalities. Love the game. They've really been a good spark for us in that aspect.
With Rebekah Allen, is it a conditioning build-up? What is the?
Yeah. I mean, she had she was playing in Miami, and then just like we all know like the deals happen so quickly with the CBA, and everything happens so fast. They're coming over from Australia. We have other players from Australia. We had Han come over from China. We're just trying to take our time and be smart right now.
Thanks, CD.
I'm sorry. What does it mean to you to inherit this roster that each of these players like John Quell, Sabrina, Brianna, who are all number one options, but making that sacrifice, also with Satu, just making that sacrifice to want to play together and do something special and win?
I mean, like we have championship pedigree in this building. I said it yesterday, and that matters. And we have players who are selfless. And when I got this job and I went around and I spoke to everyone individually, I felt that. And everyone here wants to win, and that's what's most important.
Thanks, Chrissy.
Thank you.
And then free agency, it's all at once, and those conversations that led you here.
I didn't really think this was going to happen for me, so I was just like kind of playing basketball out in Australia in the WNBL, trying to win a championship for my team. And then I had a couple of conversations with CD, but like didn't know there was going to be a season. I don't really know. I've been here for a training camp a couple of times, not New York, but in the league, and I've never stuck on a team. So after last year, I kind of thought that it wasn't going to happen again. And then, I got the call like, oh, do you want to come out for a training camp? And I was like, hell yeah, that sounds great. So here I am. New York's kind of dope. Brooklyn's really cool. So, I mean, yeah.
And you were able to build a relationship with Han before coming over here. Just what have you seen from her, and even her growth? She talked about how the WNBL was so big for her in terms of being the physicality of that league.
I
So
love that
in
woman.
time-
I love that woman. Han is so cool. I don't know, like if you ever have the opportunity of having a conversation with her, she's just like a ray of sunshine. She's so cute. Like she's the biggest cute person I've ever met. Like so talented. And like really like we have such a great relationship. Like I was a captain of the team that she played for, so you know we really built that between the two of us. And for me, you know, knowing coming out here, like this is still a foreign country for me too, you know. So having people around me that like are familiar, and she's just the best. She's so funny. Like I don't even know if she knows what she's saying half the time, but she's hilarious. So yeah.
I don't know if you've spent a lot of time in New York at all, but what are your impressions of like living here for now? And you mentioned that it's an adjustment, but it's a dope city.
No, it's super dope. So
Brooklyn reminds me a lot of Melbourne. I don't know if anyone's ever been in Melbourne, but Brooklyn and Melbourne are quite similar. I've been to New York like once 4 years ago for an Australian camp when Sandy was coaching out here. But like I'm an artist. I'm big into the art scene. I like reading. I like all that stuff. I take my camera out. I take photos of everything. So like, this is my vibe. Like, don't send me to anywhere else, please. I like this place. It's so cool. Yeah. No, you're good. You're
And
good.
then in terms of your conversations with Chris, I guess how, in terms of from a basketball, from a life perspective, how did those go? Did that help play a part in convincing you to come here? And what's kind of your sense of how he's going to be as a head coach?
No, I didn't take much convincing. He's such a dope guy. He's really cool. Don't tell him I said that because his head will get big. You know, he's a really dope individual. Like
What
very.
makes him dope? If I can know.
He's just like. He makes you feel like a person, not just a basketball player. Like he doesn't make you feel like an asset, you know. Like makes you feel like a human, and I really like that, and I really value that in coaches. And he's a good communicator. And when he asks questions, he asks to listen and hear the answer, not just to respond, which I think is a really invaluable thing in a coach. And then on top of that, like I said, like the location, you don't really need to convince an Australian to come to New York. Like it's like, come on, like what a cool change, you know.
You recently had a record-setting performance where you dropped like 65 points, I think it was.
I did, yes.
Yeah. So what was that experience like for you? Like, were you just in total flow state? Have you ever been in that type of experience?
Not really, no. Like I've always been just like a rebounder and a defender, and then only the last like maybe 3 or 4 years figured out how to score. I was actually, after the WNBL season, I was playing a short-term contract in China, and playing in China, they don't really tell you what to do. They just say, go play basketball. And I didn't know an offense or anything, so I was kind of coming off the back of, like, just hooping. And then went back to one of my home clubs, and I had like, a 3-day break between, like, getting back from China. I played one basketball game and then came here. And I wasn't going to play, but then I was like, oh, come on, it can be fun. And then it was fun. I scored 65 points. So,
So did the call to sign the training camp, like, did that come after the 65 point?
oh, no, way before. But I like that it looked like that it came from that.
Yeah.
We can just say that it did come from that, but no, that was way in the motion, I think that was just an added bonus, yeah.
You said you played at other training camps. What separates New York as an organization from an organization and culture standpoint that just makes it, just better than other franchises?
So much, man. First of all, like, it's so professional. The people here and the facilities and everything down to, like, how the kit's organized, the food we get after practice, the staff, everything's so professional. And then the other thing that I've noticed is just the people are just so kind, like, this is, it's a business. Like, I get it, like, people get cut, traded, whatever, it's a business. But the kindness piece is still here, which is really, really nice. From the players, not just from the staff, like, the vets have been awesome. Because, it's very overwhelming, like, this is an overwhelming situation for any new person walking in. And I think I can speak for all the new people that, like, as a training camp environment, this is just, like, not only professional, but, like, just, like, a really kind of warm place to be. Yeah.
What are you hoping to prove or showcase while you're here for training camp?
I'll just be myself. Yeah, I'm a bit of a strange character, so just kind of let that be. And I play really hard, so like scoring's not like my first priority. Like I'm a really, really good rebounder. I'm a hustle player. I leave everything out there. Like I just want to play harder than everyone else, and I just want that to be seen. And hopefully a bit of my personality shines through all that, but yeah.
What has been key in the development of your three-point shot over the years?
I don't know, just shooting it more, self-belief, you get reps up, but it's just like when you believe it's going to go in, then that probably. But I don't know, like, everybody trains hard, everyone gets the reps up. Like, at this level, you won't find a player that doesn't spend extra hours in the gym. Like, it's all in there probably, yeah.
I think you overlapped like a year or so with like Satu and Sabrina at Oregon.
Yeah.
Just to be back with them, like what's
Like,
that been
they're
like?
great people. I didn't spend much time at Oregon. I was really bad in college. Like, I was not good. I kind of sucked. So, like, I just rode the bench and watched them do their thing, But great human beings. And it is cool, like it is a weird thing, like, you know, however many years, how old am I, 27, like 9 years later, like to be able to like be on the court with them when, you know, from afar I've watched their careers just be amazing, like both Sav and Satu have had really amazing careers, and, you know, I've been able to watch them from afar, and yeah, again, I sucked in college, so it's really still random that I'm playing in the league for me, but, you know.
Over the last few years, there's been like a great uptick in Australian guards. I mean, even here in New York City, we were able to watch Kitty and Fliss Henderson do some great things at Columbia University. What has it been about Australian guards over the last few years where we've been able to see them thrive not only collegiately, but professionally?
I think we're really tough. Australians are really tough, and I do think that across the board, like we have an edge just because like we're a little scrappy, and we're kind of like, I don't know, the way that we're brought up in the basketball environment, like you just play really hard, and there's no space for people that don't like leave it all out there, and I really do think that's the thing, because there's so much talent in America, right? Like, so you think about bringing people in from another country, what is it that separates them apart? Like, I just think that we play really, really hard.
Back to Han. You know, you played with her in Australia, and maybe you've kept track of what she's done, you know, on the Chinese women's national team. How do you think she's improved over the years? Because she was drafted into this league at age 19.
Yeah. Have you ever seen someone 6'11" be able to dribble the ball like that and like move the way that she moves? It's unreal. She's amazing. She's like one of a kind. Like, you like literally can watch her shoot trail threes and put the ball between her legs and stuff. Like, she works so hard. She just keeps going like that. So it's like, what can't she do? You know, like her ceiling is so high, but like, yeah, we talk about her talent. She's so talented, but she's a great human being. I think that's the best part about her. Like, she's 10 out of 10.
You said that you're an artist and mentioned photography. Is that your medium when you're talking about being an artist?
Oh no, I paint and I draw. Yeah, I went to school for I got an arts degree, so I have a bachelor's in graphic design and digital art. But I paint and draw and stuff. Yeah. You do? Yeah, it's so good.
The school called LaGuardia in New York.
Cool. Yeah, that's so cool. Yeah, so yeah, that's why the city is so cool. I get to just like, I would really like to like immerse myself in the art scene and stuff like that. Like I designed and drew all my tattoos and stuff. So yeah.
Gotta go to the museums on your off day.
That's what I'm doing tomorrow. So I'm so excited. Yeah, I'm so excited.
Going to Met, MoMA.
That one.
MoMA. Okay.
Because we have a MoMA in Tasmania.
Sure.
And it's huge. It's a little random. I don't know if you guys have heard about it, but it's a little random. But I've been to the one here before, but I really want to go back. There's some cool exhibits on at the moment. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.